What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Shankai and I'm a day trader from Singapore. So if you don't know already, I'm already started on my 4,000 USD scalping challenge, and I'm happy to announce that we are back in the green today after yesterday's trading. So today will just be a live recap about today's trading. So if you are not really interested in listening to me talk about the markets and how I analyze the markets, feel free to skip right to the live trading parts. The timestamps are below on the comment section, and don't forget to like, comment or subscribe to the channel if you want to follow my journey. So now let's get into the markets. So for NQ market wise, you can see that it is uptrending, and the levels that we will want to focus on it will be the 13,520 mark and the 13,356 mark, which is the pre-market highs and pre-market lows. For SPY as well, it is uptrending. You can see the general direction is moving upwards. Some areas you'll be looking for will be 417.41, which is the pre-market highs, and 414.9, which is the pre-market lows. So for the big picture wise, any news that was coming up, so I guess the investors were growing more comfortable with the inflation outlook and the pace of the economic recovery. So the Fed minutes last week was talking about tapering the bond purchases, and I guess this makes people a bit less concerned about inflation. So if you guys don't know yet, bond yields go up when bonds sell off. So that's why the bond yields are like the interest rate. So when bond yields go up, the interest rates go up. So everybody is afraid that inflation will be increasing lah. So what the Feds do is that they go in to bolster demand, and they start to buy the bonds so that they can control the interest rate. So if the Feds can afford to taper off and stop buying the bonds, that means that the interest rates won't really go up, and it's more of a transitory moment right now, and the higher interest rates right now won't really affect people that much. Yeah, so not many economic events for today. SPY and NQ are generally uptrending, and VIX is good as well. Yeah, so a little bit on Tesla. Let's look at what Tesla is doing. Tesla gapped up quite nicely, and then right now it's just moving sideways. Nothing too crazy. Not really a lot of news for Tesla today, probably just following the markets. Yeah, so now let's dive into the live trades. So this was the very first trade that I took. Basically I was looking at the break of the 589.5 area. So looking at the ask, 589.2 is where I will enter. Waiting patiently. 589 is on the ask. This is where I entered. 9.38 is where I entered for the premiums. It pushed up very nicely. Still waiting. 589.7, 589.8. Broking 590, and this is where I'm looking to lock in my profits very quickly. So I'm really focusing on consistently locking in profits the moment I get a good move in my favor. So see this candle, it was a huge move, and I was able to catch a small piece of that. So very glad to start the day out green. Yeah, so the very next trade we're gonna go to would be 5104. So this would be for the break of 593.5. Alright, 593.5. We're going to see how this candle closes. So what I like to usually look out for is I like to see a push up and then followed by a pullback, a little bit of a consolidation like a bull flag, let it tighten up, and then when it breaks the next high of day, I like to anticipate that and possibly get a good move in my direction. So for this candle wise, I think nothing too crazy. We're going to skip ahead by a little bit. For the next candle is where it will start to pump up. So 592.5 is the entry, 593.5 is the entry. So this is where I entered. 593.5, you can see it's pumping very nicely up, and the candle, and then it pulled back on me. My stop loss is 592.5. Nowadays I'm thinking I'll cut it 10 cents before the stop loss, and it actually hit about 592.6 on the bids. So I was actually a little bit slow, a bit hesitant on cutting this loss because the previous win was amazing for me, and I actually hesitated quite a bit. So this is where I exited the loss, and it brought me back to $2 up on the day, which is about break even. So that actually messed up a little bit for me emotionally, because you're up quite a bit and then afterwards you back down to break even. So logically you want your risk to reward to be good, like at least 2 or more. So your losses should at least be half of your wins. If not, you take one one win, you take one loss, you're back to break even again. You need your win rate needs to be relatively high, like 50% or more, in order to be consistently profitable. 50% isn't even enough. Yeah, so for this trade, I definitely hesitated to cut my loss. Yeah, so let's move on to the very last trade. 144 right here. So Tesla was really strong today, and we want to see that she's gonna break the 600 mark today. Yeah, so very nice move today, and I'm looking to trade possibly the break of the 600. So my entry will be anticipating that break will be the high of the day will be around 599. Yep, so you can see very nicely it's pushing up 598.2 on the tip as well. You can see all the orders are coming in around 598. Now it's pulling back a little bit, 597. Just gonna see how this candle closes, but you can see the prices are sort of tightening around that 597 to 598 region. So all you need is either a push up or push down. So a push down, nothing too crazy, I'm not going to trade it, but let's see how it goes. 598, you can see on the tape 598.2, 598's all coming in, pushing up very nicely, very big sizes coming in. 598.8, I'm in. And then now we're going to see 598.7, 598.5. Can it push up? So this one pulled back on me a little bit. Might have it was close to stopping me out, but then afterwards you get a very nice bump up all the way up to breaking the 599s right here. So you can see a lot of orders coming in. 599.5. Can it hold 599.5? And then it broke up here. My stop loss is moved up to 599 break even. So can it break 600? The moment it breaks 600, I'm going to possibly take my profits. And then right now you see 599.8 holding very well. A lot of orders are hitting the ask, and then the moment it hits 599.8, 599.6, then it hit 600, it broke 600, and that is where I exited for a good profit. Yeah, so all in all, around 33 bucks up for the day. Nothing too crazy, but at least puts me into green territory again for my scalping challenge. Yeah, so that was a really nice move. I wish I had more contracts to hold, and then I can sort of like scale out my contracts very nicely. It would, I think, greatly benefit the risk to reward, but I think when I have my executions down, then I will focus more on sizing up. And of course I need to be consistently green so that I can then I can think about sizing up. Yeah, so now let's go to the journaling part. So for the journaling part, I definitely think that I still have to work on my losses. The loss today was still too big, and I cannot size up until I prove that I can execute properly. My risk to reward is good, and I'm consistently profitable and green for 2 weeks. Yeah, so Tesla was honestly very strong today. A lot of opportunities to trade and a lot of setups. Only had one candle pullback, but I didn't enter them. What I like to see is usually like a tightening, a consolidation, sort of a longer pullback, a few minutes of pullback, and then it pumps up again. That's where I like to enter. Yeah, so this was the very first trade that I didn't take. Tesla sort of like broke down at the start. It broke the high of day and then pulled back again. I didn't like that kind of price movement. Afterwards it broke the high of day again. Yeah, so I didn't take this trade because I didn't know the direction for the day, so waited for there to be clearer direction. You can see on the 5-minute chart, very clear uptrend. Yeah, so for the very first trade that I took, yes, for this one, the break of 589.5, the entry was 589.5, stop loss 588.5, and take profit is 590.5. As you saw just now, premiums was 9.38 entry and 9.87 exit, and the total win was $47 after commissions. So the entry was, I think, slightly earlier for this trade, but overall still not too bad. Exit was good when I saw that it broke the 590.5 mark, so I'm definitely trying to cultivate this habit of consistently locking in profits. Yeah, so I guess this is a very good job in locking in profits, and this move came very quickly. You can see how big this candle was. Very strong candle. Great for scalping or day trading, definitely. Yeah, so I didn't enter here for the break of 592.5 over here, It was a nice consolidation and then it pumped up, but as you can see from the Nasdaq over here, it's overextended. OE stands for overextended. Look at how many green candles in a row. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 green candles in a row. There's no way I'm entering on that, so I want to wait for a bit of a pullback. If I see a bit of a pullback like red candle in between, that I'll be more comfortable taking it. Yeah, that's how I would trade, because I think Tesla follows the Nasdaq and the SPY, the markets very closely, so whatever they do sort of affects Tesla as well. Sometimes of course when they pump up, they can pump up many candles in a row and Tesla will just follow lah. Yeah, but I don't want to be caught sort of chasing the pump, you know. Yeah, so for this trade, yeah, this was the trade that I unfortunately didn't execute very well on. The entry was 593.5, stop loss 592.5, and the take profit was 594.5. So premiums I entered was 11.08 and the exit was 10.66. So total minus 45 with commissions. So about break even with the first trade from before. So I think the entry was okay. I was a bit nervous, and today all my entries were about like 10 cents earlier than before. And right after I entered this trade, it pulled back on me, and but I was hesitant to cut the trade when I saw that the bids reached the 592.6 mark, which is the 10-cent area before the stop loss that I had set. Yeah, so exit for this trade I think was bad. I had several moments to cut my loss at 592.6, but I guess I kept hoping that it would turn around and move towards the upside and give me a good win. So I have to learn to keep my losses small. Even if my win rate is only 50%, I can keep my losses half of my wins. I'll still be consistently profitable with a somewhat okay, somewhat mediocre win rate. Yeah, so I guess for me the learning point was it is harder to this is not the first time it's happened. It happened a couple of times last week as well. It is harder to take a loss, especially after I get a good win out on the open. So that makes me a bit hesitant to lose and want to hold it for a bit more. I have to be aware of that. So now I'm aware of that, and I only know that from my journaling. So this is why journaling is so important. You're more aware of your emotions, your behavior, and how you can come up with solutions to sort of counter those unproductive behaviors. Yeah, so I felt a bit bad after losing that trade, but honestly I was still able to keep my sort of emotions in check and continue to trade for the last trade, which was the break of 599. The stop loss is 598 and the take profit was 600. So the premiums entered at 6 and exited at 6.33, so total win is $31 after commissions. Nothing too crazy, but at least puts me into green territory for the trade. Yeah, so entry, I think the entry was good, moved up pretty fast as well. I knew it would move up quite fast, because usually 600 is a critical area. When it moves upwards, it usually will hit the critical area and usually breaks the critical area by a little bit. Yeah, so this trade almost moved against me. It pushed downwards towards the 598.2 area on the bids, but then it pushed up again from there. So I think this one was very close to stopping me out, but it didn't stop me out. Yeah, so I moved my stop loss up to 599, break even when the price moved to 599.7, and I took profits the moment 600 broke and tape started to speed up. So consistently locking in profits, which is very good. Yeah, so things I did well for the day. I think my entries were good. I was able to manage my positions as it moved in my favor, and I was able to better manage my emotions as well when I tell myself that it is okay to lose trades, and taking losing trades are normal. I need to get used to them. I need to accept the risk. Yeah, so things that I have to improve on: definitely have to cut losses 10 cents before it hits the stop loss. Usually becomes a bit harder to cut losses after a nice win for the day. Yeah, so now that I'm aware of that, what I'm going to do is that I will be more careful after I win one trade, the very first trade, and then the second trade that I take, I'm going to be very careful and be more sort of prepared to cut my losses every time the very first trade is a win. Yeah, so usually I find that when the first trade is a loss, I have no problems cutting the trade at all. It's only when the first trade is a win. Yeah, so then I think that putting my stop loss just 10 cents before the actual stop loss as well is also cutting it a little bit tight. I feel a bit like sort of pressured and a little bit scared to cut my losses then. So what I was going to do about that is that to make things a bit easier, if the first time it hit the sort of 10 cents before the stop loss, I will wait and then when it bounces from there, and then if it comes back again a second time, it hits a second time, I will exit then. So then it gives me a little bit more leeway. So the second bounce is towards the downside, or the upside is where I will exit my position. So that will help me to adhere to my stop loss a bit easier. Yeah, so overall, definitely glad to be able to end the day green. Good entries and management of emotions for today. Definitely have to definitely have to work on cutting my losses. 2 steps forward, then 1 step back will still mean 1 step forward. So I'm still okay with that. I just have to make sure that my risk reward is good, and then I'm able to keep my emotions in check and focus on executions. With all that, I can possibly end green for the next 2 weeks, and then I can start to size up and hopefully can start to be profitable again. So if you watch all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, or subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.